time has come. Open up your eyes and see the sun. Open up your spirit.
Wake up, 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 Africa.
Hello and welcome to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki in Atlanta, Georgia. Hey! With Dynast of Search for Uhuru. You guys have been saying we need to get together, we need to get together.
Well, we're here in Atlanta.
I know.
In my house.
And exactly, in his house. Yo, I mean, you see the Queen of Sheba right here? Anyway, it's so awesome. A lot of people have been reaching out to me and saying you're doing amazing things,
Appreciate
coming to the African continent. I know I was writing you for not coming to East Africa, at least Kenya.
Oh, I've been twice. I'm coming back soon.
Okay,
I've been twice.
good.
I've been
Yeah.
At least I've been twice.
Oh, that's
I was there in
amazing.
2014 and I think in 2013, I believe, is when I was there. So I've been twice.
So I like, for me, I always wonder, how did you get on this journey of visiting Africa and showing, like, global Black Africa? Because it's not just, global Africa,
Right.
At the continent, because it's not just African Americans who watch you. It's Africans in Europe, even
Right.
Africans on the
Right.
continent watch to get different feels of different countries. How did you get started?
Well, I was in corporate America making good money, and a friend of mine said, Dynast, you need to take a vacation. And I said, okay, I'm going to take a vacation. So
Yeah.
I was going to go to Brazil and get involved in all types of debauchery.
Yeah.
But
For real,
my host that was going to take me, she backed out. So a good friend of mine, he went to Tanzania before, and he said, Dynast, you need to go to Tanzania.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, I'll think about it. And so I was researching Tanzania, and in Tanzania, there's an island called Zanzibar.
Yeah.
And so in LA, where I was living at the time, there was a club called Zanzibar.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, it's a real place. So then I bought my ticket, went, fell in love, and I've been hooked ever since.
A lot of people, there's that fear, there's that initial fear
Right.
of going and kind of just getting their ticket and coming to Africa.
Right.
What are some of the barriers that our fellow African American brothers and sisters face, and what would you say to them about that?
I did a video saying that, Black Americans, a lot of us, we still use stereotypes from the 70s and the 80s
Yeah.
as excuses to not go to Africa in 2018,
Yeah.
2017.
Yeah.
I mean, all the malaria and mosquitoes and wars. Like a lady today at the talk today,
Yeah.
she asked me, she was like, yeah, the war in Darfur is still going on. I looked at her, Darfur?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, my bad. I'm like, that's been over for years now. So it's just these 80s and 90s stereotypes, 70s stereotypes that Black people are still trying to leverage as excuses to not go in 2018.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things like, look, it's all lies. Buy your ticket, get your passport, and go visit. Especially if
Yeah.
you're so-called Black conscious or Pan-African and
Yeah.
all that. Like
Yeah.
it makes, even if all that stuff is still going on, you still
Yeah.
you still got to visit. So
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you. Another thing that I hear a lot is that African Americans, don't like Africans, and Africans don't like African Americans. And it's something like I had never heard of before.
Right.
What do you have to say about that?
I'm gonna say this: it's not Africans on the continent. For some reason, African immigrants, when they come here, I don't know who programs them.
Yeah.
And to be more specific, it's more Nigerian and some Kenyan, because from
Kenyans?
I don't know what it is, because from the French-speaking countries,
Yeah.
like Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, like there's really no issues. It's for some
Yeah.
reason Nigerians and some Kenyans, they're the ones that like when I have an issue is with
Yeah.
them. So it's not really, because Africa's not monolithic. So
Yeah.
we're not gonna pin the whole Africa versus
exactly.
Africans, and Africa's not
Yes.
monolithic.
Yeah.
It's really a small group
Yeah.
that has an issue.
Yeah.
So
I'm so disappointed to hear it.
Yeah, some
Like
Kenyans.
that. And
And Nigerians is Igbos. I don't know what y'all problem is, Igbos. I don't know what your issue is. But that's what it is. So
Really?
you have to really narrow it down. It's not an Africa versus
Yeah.
African Americans.
Okay.
It's more African immigrants. Then when you narrow it down from the immigrants, is some Kenyans,
Yo.
Igbos, and now some Congolese. And that's it.
Kenyans, you gotta do better. We gotta do better, yo. We can't be bringing our tribalism, bad behavior into other
It's not tribalism. It's just cooning.
Okay, yeah, there's a bit of that.
Yeah, it's not really tribalism.
Yeah.
Well, it is some tribalism, but it's mainly just, again, Black Americans take 70s and 80s stereotypes in regards to judging Africa.
Yeah.
And then Africans, whatever the white media shows them,
Is
as
what
far
they
as
believe.
us selling dope, shooting, they
Yeah.
take that and run with it.
Yeah. So, there's this whole talk of like, the 400-year mark
Right.
next year and global unity. From your experience, having traveled extensively in Africa and having also just your roots here in the US, do you see the global unity of Africa happening within our generation?
It has to. I mean, our survival is depending on it.
Yeah.
And I hear Black Americans saying we'll be fine on our own. I hear certain Africans saying like we could do it on our own. But it's not the case. I think what Africans have to understand, and Black Americans, and well, really blacks of the diaspora, somewhat have this concept down, but we're in a race-based society, not
Yes.
tribal,
Yes.
but race-based. So once we get the continent on the same page, there are a lot of Black people in the diaspora that, because of what we experienced through racism, who are on the same page. Then we could finally unite. But it's really our survival's on the line. The future of my children, Phil's children, your children is on the line. So.
And that's what I've been saying, guys. I've been saying that so long. Definitely go and search for Uhuru. And Uhuru is actually, it's
Swahili.
It's
Swahili.
Freedom. Why did you choose search for Uhuru, by the way?
I don't know. I was just so after my first time, being descendant of the slave trade, we don't know where we really come from.
Yeah.
So for me, just trying to find out where I come from, it's like will give me peace of mind and freedom. So I went to Tanzania, first country I went to, so Swahili. So I was just coming up with names and said search for Uhuru.
That's powerful.
And then my mother was named after Jomo Kenyatta. And, his son is Uhuru Kenyatta.
Yeah.
So we got some ties to
I love that.
Kenya.
Building bridges.
Yeah.
So any final message?
I mean, we gotta come together and unite. I mean, that's really what it's about. We gotta put our differences aside. We gotta stop trying to compete with each other.
Yeah.
Who's the best immigrant in a foreign land? Who's the best? Pretty much, who's the hardest working slave on the bottom of the slave ship? Slave ship. Right now, it's Black people globally. We're fighting over who's number one on the bottom of the slave ship. So I don't care where you're from. So globally, so we just got to finally come together and unite.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Man.
Thank you.
That was awesome.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
Wake up!